Does it feel like losing fat is harder than it used to be? Many people will tell you that your metabolism naturally slows down as you age, and you might as well just accept it. But the truth is that a lot of what happens to our metabolism as we get older is controllable. I've coached clients in their 40s, 50s, and even 60s to maximize their calorie burn and lose fat, even stubborn belly fat. I'm going to share science-backed strategies that will fire up your metabolism and get you burning more fat all day long. But what exactly is metabolism? It's really just the total amount of energy, calories, that your body burns in a day, also called TDEE, total daily energy expenditure. Your metabolism isn't really fast or slow. It's in a constant state of adaptation. It responds to the daily choices you make with nutrition, physical activity, and your lifestyle. And you're going to understand and then maximize all these things with burn. Burn with a silent E at the end, or burn E. That E is really important though, so I didn't want to leave it out. Your BMR, your basal metabolic rate, is the largest part of your metabolism, about 60 to 70%. BMR is determined by your body size and your percentage of lean tissue, muscle, bone, water, blood, and organs, compared to fat. Now I want you to think of these candles like your metabolism. It's already burning something, but we can get it to burn more. This is your baseline metabolism, what your body burns at rest. This is often why it gets harder to lose weight the lighter you are. Your body just naturally burns fewer calories if you're a smaller person. It's also a big advantage for tall, large people, say my husband at 6'3", over smaller people, like one of my clients who was only 4'11". Muscle burns slightly more calories than fat. Every pound of muscle burns 6 calories a day at rest, while fat burns only about 2 calories per pound. So when you increase your muscle mass, you naturally raise your metabolism. Now I feel like many people exaggerate these numbers a little bit. If you work it out, each added pound of muscle increases your calorie burn by about 6 to 10 calories per day. So 10 pounds of added muscle, which is only fairly easy in your very first year of weight training, and could take about 6 to 8 months with proper training and nutrition, will burn off the calories of an apple. But remember that we're putting all of these metabolic boosters together so that it does matter. So what else can you do to increase your metabolism? Think of your body as a factory with food as the raw material coming in. The factory has to turn that material into finished products like muscle, energy, or stored fuel. Unpacking the shipment is digestion. Sorting and moving those materials to the right place is absorption. Building and storing the final product is assimilation. All of these processes take energy, and that energy is TEF, the thermic effect of food, which can account for 10% of your daily energy expenditure. And there are a couple of ways for us to utilize TEF. Protein takes more energy, about 15 to 30% compared to carbs at 5 to 10% or fat at 0 to 3% to digest. So consuming more protein means more energy burned. I've put together a handy guide, the Lean and Strong Protein Plan, which gives you some ideal protein sources to help you burn more fat. You can get it free. When you're finished watching this video, just check for the link in the description. Whole foods compared to ultra-processed foods take more energy to digest as well. Your body also burns more calories afterwards compared to highly processed refined foods. So prioritize protein and whole foods to get your metabolism up. The other thing that increases TEF is eating more food, but eating more food to increase TEF is like buying extra stuff you don't need just because it's on sale. Yes, you save a bit, but you still end up spending more overall. I should probably remember that the next time I'm putting something in my Amazon cart. We've talked about how muscle can increase your metabolism. Building muscle primarily needs 2 things: protein and resistance training. There's actually a third thing that I'm going to talk about a little bit later. Doing resistance training is incredibly important. And while you can get away with doing just about anything in the first year or so of weight training, after that you need to make sure that you're doing progressive resistance training in a fairly structured way. So yes, you want to be increasing the weight that you're lifting, pushing or pulling. But you'll also need to change your exercises at the right interval to keep getting muscle growth. In my online fat loss program, the Lean and Strong Academy, I change the exercises every 6 weeks. Over the decades I've been coaching people, I've found that to be the sweet spot for making changes for most intermediate advanced trainees, people with at least 2 years of solid weight training. Beginners don't need to change their program so frequently to keep getting results, but sometimes it's good just to avoid boredom. But that doesn't mean that you need any magical, complicated exercises. Even most professional bodybuilders are sticking with the basics and just modifying them slightly in each phase of their training. Compound exercises like lunges, squats, pull-ups, dips, deadlifts, lat pull-downs, bench press, and shoulder presses are the staple of the majority of effective weight training programs. These exercises recruit multiple muscle groups and help increase your muscle mass more efficiently than isolation exercises like bicep curls or triceps extensions. That doesn't mean that you can't include a few bicep curls in your program, because who doesn't love the feeling of a good bicep pump? That's literally what the muscle emoji is. I've been lifting weights since I was 15 years old, and I still repeat most of the same basic exercises. For most people, 2 to 5 weight training sessions a week focused on going within 1 to 3 reps of complete failure is ideal for building muscle. If you're just getting started, body weight exercises can be fine, but you do need to gradually increase your reps and/or the difficulty of the exercise as you get stronger. That's true for weights too. If you have any joint issues, as many of us develop as we get older, you can adapt your plan to avoid certain exercises and still get results with other areas of your body. I had frozen shoulder for a couple of years, which really limited my upper body strength training and even some lower body exercises as well, because you still need to use your arms to hold the weights. But I did my best to work around it. There are endless weight training variations that you can still do even if you have physical limitations. If you're lifting weights as you get older, you're fighting back against muscle loss, and you can even build more muscle than you've ever had before. If you weren't an elite athlete, bodybuilder, or powerlifter in your 20s, your most muscular days could still be ahead of you if you start doing the right workouts and following the right nutrition plan. The next way to increase your metabolism is NEAT. Non-exercise activity thermogenesis. This is your daily movement. Every extra step, fidget, or movement that's outside of exercise increases your calorie burn. This includes all the movement that you do, like gentle walking, cleaning, or just standing up and moving around more often. So if you're at a desk all day long, like most of us are, set a timer to get up regularly and move around, even if it's just for short periods. Now, most of us don't walk as much as we should. I have been looking at mine recently, and I'm only around 5,000 steps a day, and sometimes even less. So I have to make a real concerted effort to get the level that would be ideal. So at least 7,000 steps per day, maybe 8,000. If you're really concerned about increasing your metabolism, getting more calorie burn, you can push it up higher. The 10,000 steps a day was actually just a marketing campaign that came from Japan, but it's not like it's a bad thing to walk a bit more if you want to be healthier and burn more calories. But don't think that you're doing anything wrong if you're not hitting 10,000 steps. So just move more than you're moving now, and you're increasing how many calories you're burning. There's one thing that tends to reduce NEAT that you need to be aware of if you're trying to lose fat, and that's dieting. Being on low calories for a long period of time, several months, has been shown in research to naturally reduce your NEAT, the natural movements that you make. If your calories are low, your energy tends to be low. Your body is trying to conserve that energy for survival. So you want to get your calories at the level where you're fueling yourself properly for daily activities and for your workouts, but not so high that you're not losing fat. It's a tricky balance sometimes. But always remember this: starving muscles won't grow. I mentioned that building muscle needs resistance training and protein, and the third thing it also needs is enough calories. To turn that training and protein into muscle, you also need enough energy for muscle growth to happen. But that's only part of the letter E in burn. When you feel more energized and move more, you burn even more calories throughout the day. So one science-backed way of increasing your energy is caffeine. Caffeine is widely used for improving exercise performance, both in endurance activities and strength and power workouts, like weight training. It can increase force production, reduce fatigue, and improve alertness. But you probably already know that. We talked about how you need to push yourself in your weight training to build muscle, and caffeine can make those workouts feel easier, which allows you to increase your intensity and duration. If you've got more energy, you move around more in general, and that means more calories throughout the day, more active exercise, and likely more NEAT. Depending on your individual response, caffeine can increase your RMR, your resting metabolic rate, by 3 to 11%. So 100 to 200 milligrams of caffeine a day could mean about 75 to 100 calories for some people. Green tea also increases RMR by 4 to 5%. I'm always drinking my green tea just because I like it, either matcha or just a plain green tea. The combination of the active compound in green tea, EGCG, and caffeine can actually enhance fat oxidation. So 3 to 4 cups of green tea per day could burn another 50 or 60 calories. And of course, we have that energizing effect too. That'll get your metabolism fired up. But caffeine tolerance is definitely something we want to consider. While about 200 milligrams at a time and up to 400 milligrams per day is generally considered safe for most healthy adults, according to most health organizations, you need to monitor your own response to make sure you don't get jittery or anxious after consuming caffeine. Having your caffeine as early in the day as possible is best. The half-life of caffeine is about 4 to 6 hours in healthy adults, but medications, age, or genetics can affect that. So normally if you have 200 milligrams of caffeine, a couple of standard brewed coffees, it will take about 5-ish hours to get down to 100 milligrams in your system. Then another 5 hours to get down to 50 milligrams. Ideally, you want that caffeine by the early afternoon at the latest, so it doesn't interfere with your sleep. So now we've got your metabolism burning, but I haven't talked about some of the common things you might have heard will boost your metabolism, like drinking lots of cold water, cold immersion therapy like ice baths, and eating spicy food. All of these things are more like the candle that you try to light outside on a windy day. You may get a temporary increase in heat, but it doesn't add up to much. And there's one thing that can really crush your metabolism. Poor sleep reduces your resting metabolic rate. If you're not getting enough sleep, a lot of things fall apart. Your levels of ghrelin and leptin, which regulate your appetite, can be affected. That, of course, means you're eating more, and then it's harder to control your calorie intake. Studies have shown that people who are sleep deprived tend to eat more calories the next day, which I think is absolutely no surprise to anyone. You know how hard it is to make the right decisions with food when you're tired. But with all that said, in those circumstances when you can't get enough sleep, like having young kids or doing shift work, or just generally being a poor sleeper, just do your best. Our quality of sleep does tend to go down as we get older. Hormonal changes are often responsible for this. So for men, it's the reduction in testosterone. For women, it's fluctuating levels of estrogen. And those things can really mess with your sleep, even if you're doing everything else right. So I'm at the point now as a very light sleeper who basically wakes up whenever someone blinks too hard in the room next door, that I try not to worry about it too much. I get to sleep as early as I can. If I wake up, I try not to worry about it. It's an extra layer of anxiety that nobody really needs. So if you can fix it, fix it. Go to bed earlier, try to get at least those 7 hours of sleep, going to bed and waking up at the same time, even on the weekends if you can. Keep a cool, dark room, but if you're doing what you can, let it go and focus on the things that you can control. So what if you've done all those things to get your metabolism firing as much as you can, but you're still struggling to get rid of fat. You may need to be more specific about both your calories in and calories out to make sure you're still able to get into a calorie deficit. The Lean and Strong Protein Plan I mentioned earlier is going to help you find the right protein sources to manage your calories. If you want to focus your nutrition on building muscle and losing fat, you'll learn how to set that up in this video.